Hi, and welcome to Parting the Clouds. My name is Annette Hegner, and we shed the light on the darkness of emotional bondage through real life testimonials. Hi, and welcome to today's show. I am so excited to have a guest that I've known for quite some time. Her name is Dianna Bautista, and I'm going to share a little bit about her bio and then how we met, and she's going to tell you her story, and I'm so excited to hear what she has to say. After 15 years of experience in the hair and beauty industry, Dianna has taken her vast knowledge of the industry into developing nations to teach women who have been victim to domestic violence, extreme poverty, and human trafficking. From the favelas of Brazil to the slums of Kenya, women have been liberated through a career in hairdressing. Most recently, she has worked with women in Thailand who have been rescued from sex slavery, where she founded Shear Love International. Since founding this project in 2015, they have created beauty school partnerships through the whole of Southeast Asia, India, Kenya, and Mexico. Dianna couldn't be more proud to work with Shear Love and all they do to give women the choice to have a dignified career. Which is amazing, all of that in and of itself. But I met Dianna, oh goodness, probably at least in 2016, maybe 2017.
Probably, yeah.
I used to, a long time ago, work in wedding PR.
I used to do hair for everyone's wedding.
Yes. And I happened to be working on a photo shoot with one of my clients, and Dianna was doing the hair for the models on that shoot. And so when we had a break, we just spoke on the side and kind of got to know each other a little bit. And then she let me know what she was doing with Shear Love International. And I had already been feeling a pull for the Lord to kind of help with human trafficking. And I didn't know what that was going to look like. I was a mom, of 3, and that's nothing like I really felt I could get my hands on. And then when she told me that's what she did, and I'm also an event planner, I offered to donate my services to do her fundraising galas so she can raise money for her foundation. And here we are this many years later. And
and after we've had how many absolutely stunningly gorgeous galas?
Yes.
Thanks to Annette.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So
we're going to have another one this summer. We're going to talk more about that offline.
Offline. Okay. So I can't wait to hear what you have to share with us. So please tell us, where did Shear Love get birthed and how did it begin?
Well, I was a hairstylist in America, like you had shared before. I was a hairstylist here in the States. And then I had gone to, I went on a missions trip with my brother and at the time it was his fiance, now that's his wife. And we had gone together to Kenya. And while we were there, I saw in the slums that are there. I mean, the slums, it's like nothing like what we picture the projects or the hood, the barrio down here in America. It's absolutely nothing like that. And people are literally living in tin shacks with mud floors. I mean, it's absolutely horrific. And I was in this slum area and everyone was living in shanties, they were corrugated metal, like 10 by 10, 12 by 12 little square boxes that these people were living in. And I went through and I saw, and as we were walking through just to tour the area to learn more about what was happening, I saw a little tin shack that had salon painted on the side. And I was like, what? No way. And then I saw it was a painting of a girl with, braids and everything. And I was like, get out of here. And so I go and I sit or I go over there and I was like, wait, is this really happening? Like, this is crazy in the middle of a slum in Africa. And so I asked the social worker who we were there with, I said, okay, this is a hair salon. Like, where are the beauty schools? Where are the beauty supply stores? Tell me more. Like, where's all the salons? And they said, oh, these women don't go to beauty school. People would probably laugh at them if they tried to go to beauty school. And I'm like, but what are you talking about? And they said, no, like if you can braid hair, you open a salon. And that was it. You know how to cook, you open up a restaurant. You can know how to clean, you can open up a laundry place. Like there wasn't any kind of certification or any kind of training for any vocational programs. And so I was like, well, what the heck? I got to get in here and I got to do this. And so I ended up learning a little bit more and ended up visiting quite a few more salons in the area. And literally there were these women that just have a stool a stool that they have on the ground, and they sit on the ground, and they have her little comb, and they just braid hair. And I'm just like, that is like, that means just, it's unbelievable when you're in the developing world, when you're outside of perfect, I mean, what, amazing America, where, I mean, people for some reason here just think that they have it so rough, and then you go to other places in the world when you really see, what depravity is, when you see what suffering truly is. I mean, it opened my eyes to a whole new thing. When I got back from the States, I was just like, what the heck am I doing here? What am I doing? And I mean, I had a full clientele. I was working in Corona at the time, and I had a full clientele, very successful. I was working in LA. Like, we met with Gray Likes. I was doing photo shoots for them. I was doing photo shoots for a few different commercial projects. I was doing celebrity hair for different magazines and photo shoots. And I seriously was like, this was my dream. I had a full clientele, very successful, starting to get into the entertainment industry. But then I was like, what? But I don't know. This is pointless. I don't want to do any of this. I want to be out there helping and serving these women who have literally nothing but their hands to work with. I'm like, who better to teach than them? So over the next couple of years, I ended up going to a few different places. I went to Brazil, to Mexico. I ended up going back to Kenya after this trip and helped them build a beauty school with the organization. And I had been on many different trips to kind of just like help and guide and say, okay, like, let's go through these and let me show you what it looks like to set up a school, set up a salon, and just kind of like I was helping in those certain ways. And then I ended up going to Southeast Asia, and I was like, oh, dang, this is different. This is rough, because I think I'm going to end up here. I always thought I'm going to live in Brazil or Kenya. I'm like, absolutely. The food, the people, the climate. Yes, this is where I'm going to live. And then I got to Southeast Asia, where it's like hotter than Satan's backyard. It is so humid. And so it's seriously, it's like 120 degrees. And 100% humidity. It is horrible. You know that Jesus calls you someplace when you are willing to move to Satan's backyard. That is, Satan's my neighbor, you guys, seriously. And so I really was like, wow, you're called when it's like that. And you're like, yeah, I gotta go. And so I ended up moving to Southeast Asia. And then it's, Annette, it is the truth. I'm telling you.
I know.
But my friend Kaylee, who's another really good friend of ours too, of me and Annette's, Kaylee was doing a project in Thailand and said, hey, I'm doing this training course. We're doing a training course for people who really want to get involved in human trafficking, get involved in anti-trafficking. And but they just don't know where to start. They're like, okay, well, I'm a teacher. I don't really know what to do. I'm studying to be a lawyer. I'm a musician. I'm still in college. I just want to figure this out. Like, I don't really know like how to go about this. I'm just same like you.
Yeah.
I'm passionate and I want to put my talent somewhere. I just don't know how. And so we put together a 6-week course. Kaylee led the whole thing out, and we were able to teach. I think that first year we had 21 or 22 like college aged people and when we were able to help them really hone in and say, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I'm able to do. This is my education. These are my skill sets. And this is how I can help human trafficking from here on out, and help those who've been rescued or those who are still enslaved in human trafficking, how to get out of it. And so it's really, really been an incredible process. And as a result of Kaylee starting that there, I ended up starting Shear Love in that same place, like same building. Like it was, I ended up starting Shear Love right there. And my original goal, because I had just gone to different countries and, helped out and did, things here and there in my mind, because, hairstylists they don't go to college. We don't have this 4-year degree. We don't have, all of these educational accolades. So I'm like, well, I just do hair. That's completely everything that I kept telling myself. Well, I just do hair. It's fine. It's not a big deal. Well, finally, when I started Shear Love there, and it was basically, I just meant to build a school and I built a salon, and I was like, so I'm just going to leave it. And that's what I had done in every other country. Build a school, and then just leave it to them. And I get out of there. Well, when I was there, I started, obviously the vastness of sexual exploitation within the city that I live in. It's called Pattaya, Thailand. You can Google Pattaya And you will literally, like, the first few things that come up on Google are a sex tour. You can actually pay with a credit card. You can pay for a sex tour to go to the city that I live in. It's absolutely horrible. It's known as the sex trafficking capital of the world. And it's, I mean, more than 50% of the city are people being exploited for sex. Lots of people are also being exploited for labor, but it's definitely sex is the number one thing where people are exploited in our town. And yeah, and so I ended up starting it there. And then I was like, wait, like, I can't just build this for 6 women and get out of here. There's literally tens of thousands of women being sold. What the heck am I doing? I can't do this. And so I was like, well, I'm going to build a permanent school and a permanent salon, and we're just going to keep funneling people through and keep educating them, right? Well, as I was there I had been there for a year at that point. And then I was like, oh, there's little areas throughout these red light districts where men are being sold. And not men, like, I mean, you know, a lot of people would think they're transgender. No, I mean, these were like straight looking dudes that are just like, and I'm like, wait, how is this possible? Like, what's going on? I go in and I start talking to them, and a lot of them are straight. And I'm like, but you're being purchased by elderly gay men. Like, what's going on? And they said, well, I mean, we got to eat. We got to do what we got to do. And I'm just like, get out of here. It just blew my mind. And, you know, and well, a lot of it comes down to the oldest child, and it's always the girl. The oldest girl has to go and take care of the family. And she usually ends up in the brothels or ends up in a factory being trafficked for labor, but it's mostly the brothels in Thailand. And then they, you know, and then that's how they provide for their families. Well, if there's no girls in the family, it ends up being the oldest boy. So that's really what we were finding. And these are all people from like hill tribe, farm villages that have zero education. I mean, we've had maybe 3 or 4 people that have come through Shear Love that actually went to high school. Every single person who, I mean, with the exception of those, like maybe 3 or 4 or 5 people, none of them graduated past 3rd grade. And, you know, I mean, and it's because school in Thailand is free up to 3rd grade. And then you have to pay beyond that. And so parents can't afford that. They're like, oh, you're coming out, you're going to the fields. Yeah. You're going out to the fields and you're working. And then once you're old enough, they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you're old enough. You got to hightail it to the city. You better figure it out. And they're sending like 12, 13-year-olds to the city to figure it out. And what a lot of times what happens, especially in these very rural villages, these poor, impoverished rural villages, someone from these brothel areas, what we would call a human trafficker, they would go up and they basically pose as someone who's offering job opportunities. And they'll say, okay, you can, we can help you. We can pay for your train ticket, your bus ticket, whatever, to come to the south of Thailand. You can come to Bangkok, Pattaya, Phuket, you know, any one of these places. We'll help you get a job in a hotel. We'll help you get a job at a restaurant, a hair salon. When I started finding that out, I was like, oh, no, you don't. And no, you don't. And so I just, and the more and more we're learning about this, I was like, oh no, we need to be a permanent fixture here. And we need to do this always. Because I mean, and there is just a constant influx into the specific city that we live in. So in the middle of all this, I had a friend tell me, she had said, why don't you start your own deal? Like, Kaylee's doing all this really cool stuff with educating people. You're doing all this cool stuff with Shear Love, and you're educating survivors. And then on the other hand, you're educating other people who want to get in on the fight. Like, why don't you just start your own deal? Like, and just, you know, and I was like, oh gosh, I don't have that much experience. Because again, hairstylists, you know, don't have, you know, we don't have this like vast education like others have. And I was like, I don't have that much experience. I'm like, wait, how many schools now have you built in how many countries? 1, 2, maybe 5 or 6. And they're like, yeah, this is your permission. Someone needs to give you permission. This is your permission. Go for it. I was like, oh my gosh, I guess we're doing this. And so, yeah, so then Kaylee and I started Free Reign International, that's the parent organization. Mm-hmm. So then that's the umbrella. So Free Reign's at the top. And then below that, we have Shear Love, which is a project that I founded for vocational training, teaching how to do hair. Kaylee founded Injustice Response Training, which that's teaching people in the Western world how to get involved in the fight against trafficking. We have missionary care where we take care of people in the field. And we have a new vocational program, which I am completely excited about. It's called Sew Free, sewing because they sew. Come on, is that the cutest? Sew Free. And
Love it.
yeah, and we that's our newest program where we're teaching women to crochet and knit. So yeah, we have a lot of facets to the program, but and then because I was given this permission from someone who
with
said,
your zero experience,
with my zero experience, my zero education, never mind that experience is a better teacher than anything in a classroom could ever be, any lecture in a classroom, right? Yeah. But I go, and then from there, all of a sudden, we had a team from India, a group from India call us and say, hey, we're wanting to start something in India. Would you mind helping us? We had projects in 3 different projects throughout Southeast Asia. Hey, we're really wanting to start something like you're doing. Can you come and visit us? Someone from Uganda, would you mind visiting us? Like, we'd love to. We're like, what is happening? This is crazy. And of course, we're partnered with the schools that I helped build in Kenya and in Mexico. And I'm still in contact with all of the students that we taught in Brazil. But to have all these new places, and now we have 9 partners globally. And actually, I'm very, very excited. In 3 weeks, we're about to take off to Albania. Yeah, we're about to go to Eastern Europe to go potentially seek out a new project. Thank goodness this pandemic we're at the tail end of it, because man, I was ready and I'm excited to start a new project somewhere else. So yeah, so that's everything in a nutshell.
Oh my gosh, that is so incredible. That's just like from inception to where you are now.
Right.
How many years has that taken?
Well, my very first mission trip was in 2010, and Kaylee was actually with me. Kaylee was with me on that trip in 2010 with my brother and his wife. And that was really where all of this kind of was birthed in the two of us. Like, we got to be serving these people. We can't be living this insanely privileged life in the Western world, thinking that we're suffering while there's actual suffering happening in the world. So that's when we went on our first trip. The first time that I went on a trip to serve and to teach hair was in 2011. So, I mean, it's been 11 years now.
So when you went to the first place to open a school, like, what did that look like? What did you have to bring with you? And how did you gather people? Like, what do you do to start that?
The first one, I went with another organization that was established, and I went to Brazil. And we honestly, we didn't know. We were like, let's just bring everything with us. Yeah, I had never been to Brazil. And so we brought everything with us: brushes, clips, combs, capes, aprons, shears, blow dryers, everything. Of course, we couldn't use any of the blow dryers because their electrical sockets are different than ours. Whatever, it's okay. You live and you learn.
Minor detail.
Very minor, right?
Yeah.
And so, but we brought all that stuff with us. But the most important thing, other than the tools, was the actual physical education that we were teaching them. And so we were able to, we taught roughly 20 women in that class. They all got a pair of shears. They all got combs. They all got a kit basically once they graduated from us, and they were able to start. Well, in that process, because we wanted to, we were actually looking at starting a nonprofit organization in Brazil, but the process was insane. And so we're like, you know what, instead of doing all that, why don't we teach them? We had one location that we taught them, and then let's find a place where we can build them a salon. So as soon as they're done, they all have a place to work as soon as they're done. We're like, this is brilliant. Of course. It was not the most brilliant plan on earth. That definitely was not the most brilliant plan in the world. And I will tell you why.
Please.
We brought the location that was found to build the salon in was in the middle of like the drug quarter. So this whole area, this whole block was run by drug lords, by Brazilian drug lords. So,
okay.
not ideal for women who were trying to keep safe.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it was chosen. I'm going to specify, I did not choose this location. It was somebody else that chose the location. But we're like, okay, but we're going to go. And this is it. It was a matter of about 3 to 4 months. And the drug dealers shut down the salon completely. They took everything. Like it was done. They shut down everything. And this was actually, I was gearing up from that to start to go and help and build the school in Kenya. So I'm like, I'm a wreck. This failed. Like this failed monumentally. It failed. Okay. We completely failed these women. And I remember I was at church. I had finally got the news that the salon had completely shut down, and I was completely unglued. It was a mess. And I was just sobbing hysterically in the church service. And I started to walk out, and I saw my brother's father-in-law, Joe. He will come back later in the story. Remember Joe. So Joe Vargas, he was standing there, and he looks at me, he goes, Mija, what's the matter? Tell me what's wrong. And I told him what happened, and he just was speechless. He had nothing to say. He was like, there's a reason, Dianna, you didn't fail. There's a reason. And he just hugged me and just, oh, Mija, it's okay. When someone calls you Mija, you're like, okay, the world's you're just better.
Yeah.
Someone cares.
Yeah.
But he really was. And he was like, Mija, you didn't fail. I promise you, there's a reason for it all. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, it was so much. And within that next week, I got an email from one of the ladies that she's my absolute favorite girl down there. Her name is Elizama. Oh, she's beautiful. And she was one of the most dedicated students that we had. And she says to me, she emails me, and she said, can you please, she sent me a picture of Beyonce from the Oscars that year. And I know, crazy, right? She says, can you tell me how to achieve this look? And I was like, okay, yeah. So I was like, I wrote out step by step. She's so cute, right? I wrote her step by step, and I was like, yeah, what are you doing? What's this for? Are you doing a wedding, or, what's going on? And she says, oh, I have an interview in a posh salon in downtown Rio, because they might have taken all of our things away from us. They might have taken our salon, but they can't take what you taught me. They can't take away from me what you gave me.
Oh
my gosh. I'm like, I can't handle this. So of course, I go to Joe, and I'm like, oh my God, again. He's like, Mija, what did I tell you? So, and I was like, oh my gosh. And that's exactly what, I really did. I needed it to be able to step forward into helping build the school in Kenya, because that was next. That was the next project. And I was just, it was pretty incredible and pretty remarkable how each project has kind of catapulted the next.
Right.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. So do you have like a favorite transformation story of one of the people that's gone through your program and what they're doing now?
Yes, I have a million.
Okay. Give me your favorite.
My favorite. Oh gosh. Okay. Let's see.
Our top two.
Top two. Okay. I'll tell you my top. Okay. So this is one girl that we have. This is one of our girls in Thailand. Oh my gosh, I love her so much. And I'll tell you, she was super difficult. She was super, super difficult from the start, but
those are the best ones.
I know, right? I was just like, oh, just listen to me. But honestly, the biggest transformations come out of those for sure. And she was so stubborn, absolutely the most stubborn girl, right? And she barely looked at me even in her interview. And I was like, I'm not accepting this girl. She doesn't care. Because I told her, I said, we tell all of our girls, because they're all adults. We don't teach kids who are people who are under the legal age of it. And in Thailand, that's 18. Mm-hmm. So we don't teach anybody under the age of 18. So everyone's older. And so we tell them, but this is the problem too. And this is actually a myth, what a lot of people think. When someone's an adult and they're engaging in prostitution, they assume that they choose it. They assume that that's something that's, no, this is what I'm choosing to do this. Who chooses to go sell their body for sex when there's other options? They don't. Yeah. Because if that
Not
was
usually, no.
No, if that was their only choice, that's it. Then they didn't have any options. That's it. That's what we always say to everyone. If that was their choice, what were their options? And their options weren't very many if that's what they ended up choosing. Mm-hmm. So anyway, so we told her, we were like, okay, listen, we know that you're doing this. Most of our girls had. And so we're like, we know that you're doing this, but we want you to know, like, when you come to our program, we're going to provide you with a stipend to subsidize your income, so you don't have to go work, and you're here with us permanently, and you can't take customers. You can't go back out there. And she's eyes down. Okay, fine. Okay. And I'm like, oh, no, we're not doing that.
Okay. But do they speak English?
She spoke enough English, but we work with translators. Okay. I'm sorry. I should have said that.
I'm like, wait a minute.
No, we work with, she understood what I said. Okay. We do have translators there always. So she says, okay, all right. Okay. I'm like, oh, I am not. And so I didn't accept her. And so the woman, I didn't accept her. And even then, like, I was with Kelly. Kelly was one of our lead educators that year. And she was like, no, No way. Like we want people here who are going to take this seriously and who find this program a privilege. For real. If she wants to still go out there, I mean, that's awful. We want better for her, but she has to want it. Period. Of course.
And that goes with anything.
Totally. Any kind of addiction, whatever it is, they have to want it. And so, the woman who referred her to us, she's a Thai woman, a Thai lady in the city. She was also at one point 20 years ago working in the red light district. She'd given her life to the Lord, and now she goes back to the red light district and finds women to come out. So she was referring women to us left and right. And so this was one of them. And she called me and she said, "Are you going to accept her?" And I said, "Honestly, I don't think we are. And I'm sorry to tell you that. We're accepting the 4 other women that you sent us. But your 5th girl, we're not going to accept her." She didn't take it seriously. She was just, she barely even looked at me. And she told me, she says, "Please, I am begging you to give this girl a chance. She needs this. She has 3 children. She needs this." And I was like, and I said, "Oh, gosh," I was like, honestly, like she didn't seem like she wanted to take this seriously at all. And she goes, "I know, because she's scared." And I was like, I'm begging you to accept her. And I was like, oh my gosh. And this is a woman, she's very respected in the community. I mean, I respect her very much. And I was like, okay, I said, we'll accept her and we'll give her a shot, but she's got a few weeks. She's got like 2 weeks to show us. If not, and she goes, "That's fine. That's it. That's fine." And so we called her and told her she was accepted. Well, she went back to the lady who referred her to us. And she said, "They accepted me to that program." And then she says, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing." And she goes, "I know, but like, it's how dumb that they're trying to tell me that I can't take customers. The school's only during the day. I can go at night. And take as many customers as I want." Right. And so then she said to her, she says, "Then don't accept to go in this program. If you're going to still go do that and still think you're going to just be a hustler and make money off them and make money off your customers, don't even do that, because you're going to make me look bad. You're going to make me look bad because I stuck my neck out for you." And she was very, very harsh with her. And she was like, "Absolutely not. You are not going to make me look bad in front of this organization that I believe in. Absolutely not. They'll never accept anybody else." And then so she's like, "Oh, fine, whatever." And so she didn't end up, and it was about a month in, whatever, that I was like, okay, like I see that she's really making the change, right? Less attitude, less eye rolls, and we're starting to see like she's really, really good at this. She's really, really good at this. And then throughout the year, we do haircutting contests, color contests, highlighting contests, updo contests, everything. She won the majority of them. We were like, what happened? This is amazing, right? And she ended up talking to Kelly, who was the lead teacher that year. She said, "You know what?" She says, "I didn't like you. I didn't like this place." And she says, "But in the beginning of the year, we always take all of the girls to go get STD tests. Every single girl, because they all come from the red light district. So they all have to go take a blood test, a urine test, and all that stuff to make sure that they're healthy." And she said, "And you came with us." She told Kelly this, "You came with us to go get our testing done. And I asked you when we were sitting there, I said, you don't have to stay." And Kelly said, "Yeah, I do." And then she says, "No, you don't. Like, we know how to do this. You don't have to be here." And Kelly was like, "No, I do need to be here, because if one of you walks out of there and you get the answer that you don't want, or you get an answer that might scare you, I do need to be here." And she was like, "Oh, wow. Like, she really cares about me. That's crazy." Cause she didn't know. She didn't know if she had anything. So she was like, "Wow, it really would be nice to have someone to comfort me if I got a really, really bad test result." And she told Kelly that maybe in like September. We start school in January. She told Kelly in like September. Kelly's like, "Why didn't you ever tell me that before?" She goes, "Because I was basically, she was still testing her. She wanted to make sure she's like, okay, I hear you now, but I just want to make sure it sticks." Right. So that was in 2019. She graduated. Gosh, such a phenomenal hairdresser. Come March of 2020, the world starts to shut down, right? And yes, of course. So she was like, seriously, like she's like the coolest, like, I don't care about anything, so blasé about it all. But then she also knew how to knit. I'm like, that's the weirdest thing, that you're like this cool chick with a cigarette hanging out of your mouth and whatever. Like no helmet when she drives a motorbike, but then she knits. I'm like, this is the biggest oxymoron ever. You're like the coolest grandma. Like it's crazy. And so and so we called her up and I said, hey, we are going to be, because of course, 2 weeks to slow the spread. It's just 2 weeks and we're done, right?
Yeah.
2 years ago. But we have our gala every year that you help us plan. We did have it planned for April of 2020.
We sure did.
Yes, we did. We were planning diligently. And then, so we wanted to do those hats. We wanted to make just really simple knitted beanies as a gift for everyone, you know, who was attending the gala. We always have a gift for everyone on their plate, you know, for everyone who attends. And so we're like, let's do this. And let's call in a couple of women, all the women who, because when the red light district shut down, like the country shut down, that included the red light district. And that included all of the women who were, you know, they were working on the streets, they were working in brothels, and they got shut out of everything. So it's not just bad enough that they were shut out of like they were shut out of being a prostitute. Like that, then they couldn't do anything like that. That's the last resort is being a prostitute. And
I'm surprised they abided by those rules.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, they were really
interesting.
They were kind of, they didn't know what COVID was. None of us at that time, none of us really knew what it was. And so they really were, everyone was like, oh, like this could be serious. And so right in the beginning, no one knew. So they did. It didn't take very long for them to recognize that it wasn't as, you know, and they started opening things up underground. A lot of things were happening online.
Yeah, that's what I would expect.
Yeah, that happened a few months later. Okay. It didn't happen right in the beginning. So we went down to the red light district and helped a lot of women get out of that. And so they ended up coming to our salon. We taught them how to knit on a round loom. You could do it with your eyes closed. I mean, it's so easy to do. And so, but we called that girl Little Miss Attitude from the year before because we knew she knew how to knit. We're like, can you please come and teach these women? I mean, it's going to be only for a couple weeks, of course.
Yeah.
And right, of course. And so it's only going to be for a couple weeks, but we'll pay you to come and teach them. And she goes, well, that's because my salon is closed. So yeah, I would love to do that because I don't have any money. You know, I have no income at this point. And so, and then she says, but wait, can I invite a girl that I used to work with in the brothels out there? Can I invite this girl? She's still working in the brothels and I know that she's in trouble right now. Can I invite her to come and learn how to knit? Yes, absolutely. Which how incredible that she still kept in contact with a lot of these girls. And she goes, no, I need to help you too. By the first day we had 2 or 3 girls. By the end of the week, we had 20. Okay. So they're slowly learning how to make these hats. When we had about 20 or 30 hats we posted them on on the Shear Love Instagram. And we're like, hey, this is what's going on. These women were shut out of the red light district. They're making these hats, $20. You're going to support these ladies. Let's do it. We sold 400 hats in 1 month. And we were like, we might have something here. We really might have something here. Then we were trying to ship all these things to America. It was going to cost us $2,000 because they weren't essential items.
Oh my God.
So we had to wait for months and months to send all these things. But as these things all started, you know, everything just started blossoming. Our graduate started to realize like, wow, I think there's really something here. And I'd love to see a lot of these women take this as their career and really move with it. And so we hired her as the permanent teacher.
My gosh.
Yes, for the sewing class. She's an assistant teacher or she subs in for the beauty class because she's an amazing hairstylist. But yeah, now she's handling everything for the sewing program. She handles inventory of the products, inventory of the yarn that comes in. She handles shipping. She handles all of it and literally all of it. And I'm just like, to go from this girl who was trying to hustle us from day one, and now she's completely running this entire program. And she's baptized all of them.
Of course.
Yeah. Like, of course she has.
That's the best part right
Yes. Is that not amazing? She has baptized all of them. And oh my gosh. I mean, and I just love her. I mean, she's at my house every day and like, you know, she's like my little sister, you know? And I mean, hearing her now like be a mentor and to be a guide for so many of these women when she was once just like, I don't care. It is that transformation has just been insane. All of her kids are in school. They're all very, very successful in school. And her son is in high school. So
wow. So she's able to pay for the high school.
Yeah, because she has a full-time job with us. And then when we have clients come in to get their hair done, we have most of our stylists are graduates of the beauty and barber program. So we have them do it and then they receive a commission. So yeah, she's able to, all of her kids are in school, her son's in high school, and she can pay for that. She's incredible. She's absolutely incredible. What a transformation from start to finish. It's incredible.
I love that story.
I know.
That's so great.
Yeah.
Wow. So the barber school, tell us a little bit about that. So you separate the girls from the guys when you teach them. So what does their program look like?
Well, we separate them for half the day. In the morning, they do their vocational training. We have devotions, personal development, budgeting, English classes. All of those things happen in the morning from like 9 to noon. And then in the afternoons from 10 to noon. I'm sorry, from 10 to noon. In the afternoons from 1 to 5, that's their vocational training. So that's when everyone separates. So everyone's all mixed in together when we do English and everything else. And then they separate to their vocational training in the afternoon. The beauty girls go to one classroom, the barbers go to one, and then the sewing girls go to a different classroom. So our barber class, I mean, of course, that started when we started recognizing how many men were being sexually exploited and the need for vocational training even for them. Because of course you send, and this isn't all of the world, in all of the developing world, the boys get to go to school first. But what happens if they're all boys and they still don't have any money? They're being exploited in some way. Most of the time, for the majority of the world, it would be labor trafficking, but there is a large percentage that end up being sex trafficked as well. So that's why we implemented the barber program, and we've seen so much success, and quite a few of them have actually gone out and physically built their own salon, their own barbershops after, because so many of them were like, one of them was a victim of labor exploitation. So he basically knew how to build stuff. So he was like, and how crazy is it that he saw him being exploited, making $150 a month? That's what he was making a month in his doing construction. But he still saw that. He goes, wow, isn't it great that I still learned how to do something there? That way, now that I'm done with this, I can build myself a barbershop. I'm like, how insane that you took that and all of a sudden it's a positive thing.
Yeah.
Like, what? Like who looks on their past? Very few, I feel like, looks on their past abuse and their past trauma as like, wow, I'm happy that happened. Like, isn't that just, oh my goodness, he's such an incredible guy. And so he built his own shop. And then we have a few others that have, we actually had a girl who came through the barber program, and she started her own shop as well. And in her hometown, in her village up north in Thailand. And it's really, really been awesome. All of the male graduates from the program in Kenya, they either started their own barber programs or barber shops, or they're in barber shops, working in barber shops in Kenya. I mean, it's just incredible to see how these men have, when once given that opportunity to watch them step up is unbelievable. And I think, kind of off topic or maybe on topic, I don't know. But so often we're talking about women's empowerment, and it's great. It's good. Women's empowerment is very, very important, but not to the point where we're suppressing men now. And I feel like we've come to that point where it's like, well, these women need to succeed no matter what. And even if it means these men are now being shut down. And women shouldn't be empowered, educated, elevated, any of that to spite men. They should just be as well as men are, because we need each other. We really, really need each other. And I think that so much of that in the women's empowerment movement has been lost. And anyways.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah. I mean, we need each other. We need each other in this world. Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, like, your whole story is so inspirational, because it's like, yes, you go from cutting hair and all of that here into what you just shared is way more than you can ever think or imagine. Like, when you're just like at the beginning of it, like to go back then and think where you are now.
Yeah, seriously.
It's mind blowing.
It
honestly.
really is. And I mean, another little more backstory about me. My brother was sexually abused when he was a little boy by someone in the church. And I witnessed it on multiple occasions. After that, I know my dad left when we were kids, and this guy moved right in. He knew exactly what he was doing. And then years later, I ended up getting married to someone who had a lot of characteristics of him and of my dad. It was pretty bad. And so when I set out there to do this, I'm no longer married to him. A lot of things that there was no way that I could stay. It was absolutely horrible. And so the man who molested my brother is in jail, currently serving 150 years. And I'm now no longer married to him. And as a result of this happening to my brother and this happening to me, children always need to be kept safe no matter what. And that's a hill I will die on. Okay, that's number one. And then number two, women need to have an education and an opportunity to be able to protect those children. That's another hill I will absolutely die on. And so that's really, I mean, truly, that's what it all birthed from. Even so, it really, honestly, it doesn't matter that I do hair. It doesn't matter that I do hair. It matters that I was willing to use the skill God gave me in order to serve those who need it. The gift I have is for others. The gift that God gives you, like, you're an incredible planner, you're an incredible organizer. That gift wasn't meant for you. That gift he gave to you so that you could serve others. And that's anything any career or any vocation that you have isn't yours. It all is meant, it is all meant to serve someone else. And, yeah. And so whatever that is, I mean, I could have been an event planner, I could have been a plumber. I could have been a chef. I could have been anything. But the bottom line is that I chose to share my gift with others.
It's so inspirational. And it's so true, because really the skills that we have, we are meant to serve others in any capacity that we can. So
absolutely.
Thank you so much for all of that and all that you do. And tell us a little bit about the website and how people can donate to your organization if they want to support you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's Shear Love, SHEAR, like scissors. Super cute, right? Because I'm obsessed with puns. So obviously. So shearloveinternational.org, and you can click give. It's right at the top of the website. That's for our giving program. You can donate to a student monthly. It's $35 a month, and that provides all of their in-class materials. It also covers a bit of their medical care as well, which is amazing because obviously girls coming out of the situations that they're in, and the men, you can support a male student as well. And so coming out of the situations that they're in, they need immediate medical care. So that $35 a month helps cover a bit of that. Or if you want to support a sewing lady, you can support one of our sewing girls, and that's at SEW, so cute, sewfree.org, and give is at the top of that website as well. So you can give on both those.
Okay. You are so
hey, tell me that's not the cutest thing ever. So free.
It is so cute.
It's adorable.
So fun. I'm so happy to have you on here. Okay. Is there anything else you want to share before we close?
Annette, you're amazing. And thank you for listening to God's call on your life. I remember, I don't know if you remember this when I saw one of my friends posted a video of you. You were talking at a school board meeting, and I was like, that's Annette. What is going on? And I sent it to you, and I was like, what is happening? And you're like, well, apparently now I'm doing this, and I'm not going to stop doing this. And I was like, you go.
I also fight for kids. That's a hill I'll die on as well.
100%. Yes. Yeah. We also have a daycare. We have a daycare now with our program, because again, we're doing it. Yeah. And so, but I remember talking to you, we're just over text. I was still in Thailand because I was stuck there for 2.5 stinking years because of the pandemic, but it's terrible. But I remember talking to you, and you're like, well, apparently this is now what I'm doing. And I'm not surprised at all. Yeah. And you're like, what? Are you kidding me? And I was like, nobody has your conviction, and like, you're determined. You have such a clear mindset. I mean, that's what an event planner is. You know what I mean? An event planner has to be able to make decisions right now and stick with them. And you do. So it absolutely makes sense. And again, those are your gifts. Those are the gifts that God gave you. And so not only are you using them into planning beautiful events, weddings, and everything else to be able to bless people's lives, but, using your voice and your determination and to use those things in order to make sure that children are kept safe, 100%. So I thank you for that. It's a big deal.
Thank you so much. It's nice to hear from an outside perspective because, I know what I do and I know my passion, but I don't know that other people could see it. So I thank you.
Well, I definitely see it. That was not shocking to me at all. I was like, oh, heck yeah. Yes, she said that. Y'all listening? Louder for those in the back. Seriously.
Right. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure having you, and hopefully I can have you back again next time you come back, maybe next year.
Yeah.
And so how long will you be here?
I'll be here till the end of March.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, I'm going to be speaking. I'm going to be doing a speaking event at Crossroads on March 17th. They have a big event. It's called SIA, and it's every Thursday night at 7 p.m. And I'll be speaking there. We're going to, so if you want to come meet me and hang out.
Yeah.
You better be there, Annette.
I will be there.
Okay,
so
great.
anyone listening that would like to come or support Dianna, please do so. She's such an amazing soul, and I'm just so happy to know you.
Yes, I'm so happy. I'm very honored by you.
All right. Well, thank you very much, everyone, for listening and for joining us today. And we'll see you next time.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you all for listening and for joining us today. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll